After they cut me from Danica'S wedding, Dad smirked. "We don't need you." I said, "Cool. You won't get my money either." Their calls started flooding in. I'm Zaylee, 32 years young, and I never guessed my sister's marriage bash would spark what I'd tag as a total clan chaos. It all kicked off when they kicked me out of the gathering. I should have spotted it coming, to be real. My folks have a past full of fuss, tiny tiffs, mix-ups, and sore hearts. But this hit different, like it was meant just for me. Let me roll it back some. My sister Danica and I have never been super tight. We've had highs and lows, same as most brothers and sisters. But it wasn't till she got promised to her guy that stuff started to fall apart. She'd always been the shiny star at home, gorgeous, loved by all, and full of charm. I never caught that wave. I'm not saying I'm a mess to look at, but I'm more the hush-hush, lone wolf kind, and growing up where every eye locked on Danica left me feeling like a ghost half the time. When Danica hooked up with her now hubby Brecken, I was truly glad for her. I wasn't one of those grumpy, green-eyed kin wishing secretly for their siblings' joy to flop. But I'll own up, I felt like they were nudging me out bit by bit. It didn't click right away, but looking back, the clues were plain. My takes on her party setup got brushed off, my ideas for the girls' outfits got skipped, and even my tries to pitch in on the prep got a half-hearted nod. They kept saying I was too tied up to join in, it seemed. All right, I figured if they didn't need my hands, I wouldn't cram myself in there. Then came the day my phone lit up. It was my mom, sounding all stiff and strange. "Zaylee," she began, voice squeezed. "We got to chat about the big day." "Sure, what's up?" I tossed back. No hint of what was rolling my way. "Well, Danica'S all worked up about the hassle with you, and she's chosen to cut you from the invite list." I was floored, couldn't even talk for a sec. "What's that mean, cut me?" "She's just fretting that with all the mess, you showing up might kick up more trouble. You've seen how wound up she's been with the whole thing. She reckons this is easier," Mom said, sounding bad about it but solid. I couldn't wrap my head around it. It's not like I'd been stirring the pot. Yeah, we'd bumped heads a bit, but I wasn't some loud troublemaker flipping out at every family shindig. This felt like a punch to the face. I'd been busting my hump at a gig I hated, scrambling to hold my own stuff together, and now my crew, my sister, of all people, was saying I didn't rate a spot at her hugest life party. I tried to keep it chill, but my words wobbled. "So that's that? I'm just out now?" Mom stalled. "I know it's rough, but she thinks it's smartest." I didn't know how to fire back or even what was churning inside. Was I ticked, crushed, double-crossed? All that and then some. I couldn't even face Danica about it. Every shot at it just pushed me to the edge of bawling. I knew whatever I let out, it wouldn't shift a thing. The blow was landed. After a few days of stewing, I settled on a plan. I wasn't going to flop around feeling low. If Danica didn't want me at her shindig, then I wouldn't show up. I'd treat myself instead. So I snagged a quick getaway to a little shore spot I'd always dreamed of hitting. It wasn't a big deal trip, just a plain old me-only break to shake out my head. The next bunch of weeks, I zoned in on myself, flipping through stories, tromping paths, and kicking back by the waves. I worked hard not to dwell on the wedding or the buzz back home. It wasn't a breeze, but it lightened the load. The wedding morning rolled in, and while my whole gang was wrapped up in the fuss, I was pacing the beach, soaking up the quiet and calm. It felt great to ditch the grind, the non-stop drag of sitting under my sister's perfect glow. But sure enough, trouble doesn't quit just because you're chilling on a trip. A couple days into my getaway, my phone rang. Dad's voice came through. "Zaylee, we're begging for your support," he said, sounding all tense. "Something's messed up with the big day." Right away, I felt a twist tighten in my belly. What went wrong? "Well, it's Danica. She's flipping out. The party's breaking down, and we're asking you to head back and sort it out." I couldn't wrap my head around what I heard. After all that went down, after they straight up told me I wasn't wanted, now they needed my help? They expected me to rush in and fix everything when it got too crazy? "Sorry, no dice," I shot back, my words braver than my shaky insides. "I'm chilling on a trip right now, Dad. You all said I didn't belong there. Now you want me to pitch in? Not happening." Quiet filled the line before Dad piped up again. "Zaylee, this is big. You're the only one who can step up. Please, just come back. We can't handle this without you." The cheek, the nerve, I was steaming, but a weird little spark of smugness bubbled inside too. "Dad," I snapped, voice icy now, "you guys can work it out. I'm through being the family's last resort when stuff flops. Danica's the one who shoved me aside. Let her tackle the wreck she made." I cut the call, feeling a rush of ease mixed with fury. I wasn't about to ditch my break to race home and patch up their junk. But as the hours ticked by and I chewed on what they were throwing at me, I started thinking maybe they'd figured I'd just fade away easy. I didn't owe them my rescue. Didn't have to swoop in, but I got curious how far Danica and the crew would stretch to make this right. Maybe I wasn't finished after all. That night, a text popped up from Mom. Please, Zaylee, I know it's all jumbled, but Danica's crying for your aid. She's gone nuts, and the party's a flop. Please, we're counting on you. I glared at the words for ages, chewing my lip. Things were blowing up fast, and I couldn't shake the thought. Could I grab some payback from this? They'd brushed me off, pushed me out, and now they leaned on me. How much was I ready to push to make them feel it? I didn't fire back to Mom's note right away. This time, I wanted space to mull it over. I'd spent years as the family's rug, always mopping up their spills, always twisting myself to keep them smiling. Not this time. I was over it. Next morning, I woke to a pile of texts and missed calls I skipped. My phone hummed with a fresh note from Dad. Zaylee, I'm really asking you to get back here. It's getting uglier. Danica'S totally losing it, and the big day's been scrapped. We need you now. That last bit slammed me like a stack of rocks. The big day's scrapped? I was puzzled, no doubt. What was that about? Did she ditch Brecken? Was she rethinking it? If it was just wedding nerves, wouldn't they have spilled that by now? I decided to ring Dad back. I had to hear it straight from him, in his tone, what was really up. Dad, I said when he picked up, you said the party's off. What happened? He let out a deep huff, and I could feel the strain in his words. It's a disaster, Zaylee. Danica freaked. She wasn't set for it, I reckon. She lost it right there in front of everybody. Brecken was gutted, the crowd was thrown, and the whole deal just busted. I went quiet, shocked. This wasn't what I'd braced for. But it was all covered, right? The folks we hired? The place? Yeah, it's all paid up. And now, well, that's where you fit in, he said, his voice dipping into a begging vibe. A heavy feeling sank in my gut. What do you mean, where I fit in? Listen, Zaylee, we can't swing the whole bill on this, he pressed, sounding more desperate. We're stuck tight. Danica'S panicking over the cash. You know how steep it all runs. And now she's pleading for you to chip in. You're the only one who can pull it off. I nearly let my phone slip from my grip. I felt like my own words might choke me. Hold on a sec. You're asking me to cough up cash for the wedding I'm not even included in. The one I got booted from? There was a quiet moment before Dad spoke. I get it. I get it. It's a huge favor. But Danica'S falling apart, Zaylee. She's kicking herself and now she's frantic. You're our only lifeline. And I'm pleading, if you don't step up, things will turn nasty. We'll be stuck owing money for ages. I was trembling. I couldn't process what he was throwing at me. This had to be some sick prank, right? After they'd locked me out, after they'd made it loud and clear I wasn't needed, now they were begging for my wallet, and it wasn't just any little favor, not a pat on the back or a hand with some cleanup. Nope, they wanted me to cover half the wedding bill, half of a party already set up, paid up, then trashed because Danica freaked out. I wanted to yell my head off, but I knew that wouldn't fix a thing. So I sucked in a big breath and tried to keep cool. Dad, you've got to be joking. I'm not shelling out a penny. Not 1 cent. Zaylee, please, he begged, his tone all frantic. This is more than just Danica'S freakout. It's about all of us. If you don't pitch in, we're in deep water. Please, you're the only one who can pull us through. I had to set the phone down for a beat. I couldn't catch my breath. The guts, the sheer cheek of it all. Dad, I finally said, voice wobbly, you're telling me to mop up a mess I didn't stir. You and Danica chose to shove me out, to slam the door on me, and now I'm supposed to sweep up the ruins? That's not how it goes. He went quiet, and I could almost hear his brain scrambling for a way to sway me. But there was no dressing this up, no spinning it into anything but what it was. A bold, shameless grab to dump their dumb choices on me. The silence dragged. Then Dad's voice came back, softer now. I don't want this to tear us apart, Zaylee, but if you don't chip in, I'm scared things might never patch up with the family. That was it. That was the push that sent me over. Dad was dangling the family tie like a threat, trying to guilt me into something I didn't want, and I could feel every ounce of bitterness I'd bottled up crashing in. You know what, Dad? I said, voice steady now. If you think I'm paying half, you're dreaming. I've spent my whole life as the leftover, the one stuck fixing everyone's junk, but not today. I'm through. A long hush followed. Zaylee, don't go there. You're not seeing straight. Danica'S a wreck. She needs you. Then she can sort it herself. I'm not your cushion anymore, I barked before cutting the line. A wave of fury mixed with lightness hit me. They'd stretched me too thin. I wasn't their backup trick. Not some money tree they could shake when they were strapped. For once, I wasn't the fixer. But as days rolled on, the texts kept coming. Mom, Dad, even far-off kin, all pleading for me to step in. They kept tossing out how much they'd done for me, how family's supposed to lift each other up. The guilt started sneaking in, but I pushed it back. I had to hold firm, no buckling. Then just when I thought it couldn't get uglier, a note popped up from Danica herself. Zaylee, please, you're our only shot. This is a train wreck, and we're sinking in bills. If you don't jump in, I don't know what's next. You've got to help. My fingers lingered over the keys, swamped with a storm of feelings, rage, annoyance, bitterness, but above all, a sting of being sold out. This wasn't just a wedding flop. It was a whole web of twisting, blaming, and rotten vibes, and they thought I'd patch it up. I gazed at the text for what seemed like forever, my thoughts spinning wild. The note from Danica was just another dose of the same old tricks I'd grown used to from them all. You're our only hope. You've got to patch this up. The shame weighed on me, but not enough to break my resolve. I wasn't their safety net anymore. For way too long, I'd been the go-to fixer when stuff hit the fan, the one they counted on to sweep up the chaos, glue the bits back together, and smooth it all out. But I wasn't playing that game now. Not for Danica, not for anybody. It was time to grab the reins of my own days. Time to quit letting them steer my joy. I sucked in a big gulp of air, my fingers jittery as I pecked out a reply. Danica, I've been mulling over all you've thrown at me, and here's the deal. I can't keep doing this. I'm not mopping up your spill. I'm not tossing you a lifeline. You've shown me my place in this crew, and I'm finished being the mop for everyone's dirt. Sorry, but I'm walking away. I don't want any of you in my world now. I tapped send before I could rethink it, my chest thumping, my frame stiff as I perched there, eyes glued to the glow. Part of me was spooked about what they'd spit back, how they'd flip out. But another chunk, the tougher bit, the one smothered under heaps of blame and puppet strings, that part felt loose. I was finally sticking up for me. A few ticks later, my phone hummed again. This time, a ring from Mom. I let it drone on, then another from Dad, then Danica. They wouldn't quit, hammering me with calls and words, but I didn't pick up. I couldn't. Instead, I just sat, head whirling, second-guessing if this was the smart move. Maybe I was too rough. Maybe they really relied on me. But then I flashed back to the pile of grudges stacked over years, how they acted like I was a shadow, a handy punching bag for their woes. I pictured the wedding, how they'd totally iced me out, all while betting I'd swoop in when it crashed. They didn't even toss me a shot to belong, so why should I toss away everything for their mess now? I shook my noggin and flipped my phone off. The next few days dragged like the slowest ever. The guilt poked at me, but a flicker of guts did too. I'd picked my path. I'd held my spot. I wasn't their fall guy anymore. Then the flood hit. I was parked in my front room, trying to sink into a story, when my doorbell buzzed. I went stiff. I wasn't waiting on anybody, and I sure wasn't ready for the last folks I'd want to face. I cracked the door and saw Mom and Dad standing there, both looking like they'd been bawling. Mom's eyes were puffy, her face streaked, and Dad seemed like he'd tacked on a decade in a week. Zaylee, Mom croaked, her voice cracking. Please, just listen to us. I folded my arms, aiming to stay steady, but my pulse kicked up. What do you want? We're sorry, Dad mumbled, his tone hushed. We didn't mean to shove you off. We're lost. Danica's not coping. She's crumbling and we're freaked. I let out a puff of air, blocking the shame from sneaking in. You think I don't get that? You think I haven't been scared stiff for years, stuck in a crew where I'm a spare part, only handy to mop up the spills, but never to help fix the root? We messed up, Zaylee, Mom said, her voice wobbly. We messed up kicking you out. We should have stood by you. We just didn't see how rotten it got. Yeah, well, now you do, I shot back, tone frosty. Now you see just how nasty it is. I caught them swap a glance. Mom chewed her lip, her expression sinking. Please, Zaylee, she begged. I know we've stung you, but you can't ditch kin. You just can't. I shook my head. You don't catch it, huh? You've been ditching me for years. It's always me stuck patching it all. And now when I finally plant my feet for me, you want me back to scrub your wreck? I'm finished. I don't need you. Not like this. They stood there mute, clearly jolted by my fire and the hard stop in my voice. I sucked in a big gulp of air, working to calm my feeling. I'm not your backup lifeline now. You picked your paths and now you'll face what comes next. I've got to get on with my days. I'm worth more than this. Dad parted his lips like he had words ready, but then he just shut them. He stared at me, really stared, like he was clocking me for the first time, then spun around and trudged off, Mom trailing after him, still wordless. I didn't feel lightness right off. It was more a mash of tiredness and letdown, like I was lugging a load I couldn't ditch. But as the hours ticked by, something new crept in, something I hadn't tasted in ages: calm. I was loose and tough as it was. I knew I'd picked right. The days after felt oddly hushed at first, like a big burden had slid off my back, and I caught myself breathing freer. I hadn't clocked how smothered I'd been by my crew's nonstop wants and pressures until I broke away. But the quiet didn't stick around. About 7 days after I'd sliced those ties, Danica fired off another note. This time, no whining, no groveling, just a sharp, icy jab. You know, I figured you'd be better, but you've shown us true. You've always been greedy, Zaylee. Don't waste your time at the family get-together this summer. You won't be wanted. I gawked at the text for ages, her words biting deeper than I'd braced for. Danica was always the type to sling mud and act like her hands were clean, but it wasn't just her jab that stung. It was the gut punch that this was their whole take on me, a self-centered jerk for daring to put myself first. I didn't fire back. I trashed the note instead and sucked in a breath, jogging my memory on why I'd made that call. They wanted me to keep tossing my piece for their mess, their slip-ups, their storms. I wasn't playing that anymore. A couple days later, Mom rang me. I didn't answer. The next day, Dad tried again. I let it slide. The shame still chewed at me, but I knew it wasn't about ditching them. It was the ache of dropping a crew that never really had my back. I wasn't walking out on them. I was shielding myself at last. Then 3 days after I'd dodged their buzzes, Mom popped up at my doorstep out of nowhere. I spotted her through the glass, parked in the yard, her face twisted with hurt. I didn't waver this time. I swung the door wide, my pulse hammering. "Zaylee," she murmured, her tone gentle, almost begging. "Please, I know you're mad, but we're desperate. Danica'S a wreck, and this wedding mess is spinning wild. We really need your hand." Her plea hit me like a smack across the cheek. They weren't even pretending to say sorry, weren't owning up to a single thing they'd botched. They just wanted me to waltz back and tidy it up. I shook my head, steadying my nerves. "No, Mom, I'm finished. I'm not here to keep wiping up the spills you all make. You've had tons of shots. I'm not the fix anymore." Her eyes welled up, and she edged closer, stretching out like she could yank me back into their whirlwind. "Please, Zaylee, we're your kin. Don't drop us like this." My ribs squeezed tight, and I nearly let my feelings flood out. But then I recalled it all. The years of tricks, the blame games, how they'd always counted on me to patch up their busted worlds without a thought for what it did to me. "No," I stated strong. "I can't keep at this. I've poured out all I had for this bunch, but you never tossed me a scrap back. I don't need you piling shame on me for picking my own path. I'm letting you go." I watched her expression shatter, the act of a doting mom peeling off as she saw I wasn't budging back. For a sec, I figured she'd snap, but instead she just gazed at me, wounded, let down, and beat. "You'll wish you hadn't," she muttered, her words faint as a breeze. I didn't shoot back. I just eased the door shut, slow and steady. It wasn't a cakewalk, not even close. I knew the storm was brewing, that they'd flip it all and paint me the bad guy. But as I plopped in my front room that night, I clocked something deep. I wasn't their fall guy now. I wasn't going to be the fixer for their woes, wasn't going to keep trading my calm for their mess, and that hit like the sweetest win ever. Over the next few weeks, the rings quit, the texts dried up. I didn't catch a peep from my kin. At first I was jittery, peeking at my phone with every hum, braced for them to bang on my door again, but nada came. As the hush grew longer, I started tasting something rare from way back: ease. I threw my time into me, hitting the road, picking up pastimes, linking up with pals who weren't tied to the poison vibe I ditched. For the first tick in ages, I felt like I was running my show, not someone else's. Then one dusk, a note buzzed in from Danica. No fury, no cash grab or plea for a hand, just plain, almost sorry. "I miss you. I don't get where we messed up, but I wish it wasn't like this." I eyed that text forever, my thumbs dangling over the keys. I could sense that old tug of kin duty yanking me back, but I pushed it off. I didn't owe them a thing. Not now. I pecked out an answer, slow and sure, something I'd never got to spit at them before. "I'm sorry, Danica, but I can't keep this up. I've got to look out for me. I hope you get it." I tapped send and plunked my phone down, finally feeling untangled from the old days. The clan I'd known forever had split, and yeah, that stung, but it freed me too. I'd picked me at last. In that pick, I saw that sometimes snipping ropes with the folks meant to care most is the only road to pull yourself through, and in the end, that's just what I did. I pulled myself out.
Asterisk: after listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. **.